Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point Short. And we are here. I was going to do an update on the Jussie Smollett story, R. Kelly, which seems to can't get out of the news. And then also on this Los Angeles Chargers football player. And so I had prepared my notes, and then there was some updates to the Jussie Smollett story. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the update first, and then I'll go ahead and give you the original content that I was going to provide. So Chicago police confirmed today that Jussie Smollett submitted phone records for within an hour of the alleged attack to investigators. So everybody was kind of confused. And oh, let me stop there. You guys know I get my information on the Jussie Smollett case from this guy on Twitter. He's a reporter for ABC7 Chicago. His name is Rob Elgas, E-L-G-A-S. So if you want to follow him, because he has all the up-to-the-minute stuff on this case. So people were like asking the question, what does it mean within an hour of the alleged attack? Like, does it mean it doesn't include the attack? If it doesn't, is it before the attack? Is it after the attack? Like, what did that mean? And so he went on to say that Chicago police spokesman received limited and redacted phone records from the victim, Jussie Smollett. And these records will be analyzed by detectives, and we will be in contact with the victim should additional information be needed. Then he came back and tweeted, Chicago police tell ABC and ABC7 Chicago that Jussie Smollett's limited and redacted phone records were given to detectives at 1:28 p.m. Chicago time today. Chicago police are leading the Smollett attack investigation with assistance with the FBI, and we are told the FBI is the lead in the alleged threat letter investigation, while the Chicago Police Department is still following up on this alleged assault on Jussie. And then also TMZ reported earlier this week that, well, not earlier this week, TMZ reported Friday, because today is Monday, that Lee Daniels, I guess, has insinuated that they were going to write this whole incident into a future episode of Empire, which I think is like really tacky, and then it just adds more doubt to the validity of the story that they would, even consider doing that. Like, they're sensationalizing what was supposed to be a traumatic effect or a traumatic incident on this guy. So then Rob came back later and said after Jussie Smollett turned over limited and redacted phone records, and I keep doing the little air quotations is because he keeps putting it in quotations. It says that Chicago police spokesman, the Anthony Guglielmi guy, I don't know how to, it's Guglielmi, but he's the spokesperson for Chicago Police Department, told ABC7 Chicago, quote, "We are very appreciative of the victim's cooperation. However, the records provided do not meet the burden for a criminal investigation." Chicago police spokesman says, quote, "Detectives may be following up with him," Mr. Smollett, "to request additional data to corroborate the investigative timeline." Now, last week, the chief of police said, or the police commissioner said, that if they find out that Jussie made this all up, that this incident did not happen, that he will consider pressing charges against Jussie for filing a false police report. And just based on those last two quotes, it sounds to me that this is moving from like a victim. They're treating Jussie as a victim and kind of turning it into they're about to treat him as a suspect in pulling off this hoax that went on. And so it's going to be real interesting. So now I'm going to go and read to you guys what I had gathered from earlier in today, and this information came from the Washington Post. And so it says, nearly 2 weeks after Empire star Jussie Smollett claimed he was the victim of a racist, homophobic attack, cops have yet to identify any suspects. And some people in this Tony, Chicago neighborhood are growing skeptical. And not just in Chicago, like everybody is starting to doubt what he's saying. And I don't believe it happened the way he said that it did, said Agan Muhammad, who lives in the same swank high-rise near the Navy Pier as Smollett. And then there also seems to be like some controversy. Like 1 minute they say that the apartment belonged to the manager. Then in other stories they say that the apartment belonged to Jussie. So I'm not sure. And then also I was reading another article where they were saying that Jussie's manager, I guess, is an older white guy. He's like 60 years old. And so he actually, Jussie, which I had already said in a previous video, that Jussie did not want to call the police. But he encouraged him to call the police. And then in this other article I was reading last week, it actually said that he went into another room or stepped away from Jussie and called the police on his own, and that he told the police, it was in the, they had released the actual police report. And in the report, it was saying that, you know, he had taken it upon himself to call the police, and he told the police that Jussie didn't want the police involved. He wanted to just let it go, but that he felt that the police needed to investigate. So I don't know if he's part of the hoax, or if he's an innocent person in the hoax, and that he called the police without Jussie's knowledge, and then found out that Jussie may not have been telling the truth, and then they were kind of like stuck, like, well, do we tell the police it was a lie, or do we just follow through with this hoax? Like, that's just me thinking out loud, like maybe that's how this whole thing got started, that it wasn't intended to be this, but they chose to continue it on rather than to just be truthful from the beginning. So then it goes on and says, I've been in this neighborhood 5 years. This is the Muhammad person talking. I don't believe it, not around here. Half the people are gay and the other half are black. And then a patron at Lizzie McNeil's Irish Public, about a block from the scene of the alleged January 29th incident, says Smollett's story, quote, doesn't make any sense. It's a lie because Chicago is the most liberal city, said a man who wouldn't give his name. They have cameras everywhere. Why can't they find the attack? Cops have said they found plenty of surveillance video, but none that captured the incident. Meanwhile, Chicago police said Sunday that Smollett has yet to turn over data from his cell phone to verify that he was on the phone with his music manager, Brandon Moore, when he was allegedly attacked. And we now know that earlier today, he went ahead and turned over those records. And then it doesn't say if the records were like, you know, like I can go onto my Sprint account and print out phone records and then give it to somebody. I don't think that would be admissible in a court of law. So we don't know if that's what Jussie did, and then he, you know, blacked out certain phone numbers that he didn't want them to know about. Because I'm thinking if he went to his phone provider and said he needed these records, that they would have put that in a sealed envelope, and there would have been that little message on that tape that says if this seal is broken, then the information inside is no longer valid. I know that happens here when you go and get legal documents from people, like if you need school transcripts, if you need documents from the courthouse, that type of thing, they'll seal the envelope and then put this tape on there that says if the seal is broken, then don't accept this as, you know, as being legitimate or an official record. Moore says he heard Smollett's assailants shout a racial slur and the words MAGA country, an apparent reference to President Trump's Make America Great Again slogan. We have no reason to doubt the statements, but the criminal investigation, we need to independently confirm the phone records, said the Chicago spokesperson. So we offered to take the phone to download the data, and he expressed he couldn't be without his phone for several hours. Smollett told cops he was confronted by two men, one wearing a black mask, who hurled gay and racist epithets at him, calling him Empire, the F word, and then the N word, while he was walking home shortly before 2 a.m. The assailants allegedly punched Smollett in the face, doused him with the liquid believed to be bleach, and tied a rope around his neck in an underpass between the Sheraton and Loews Chicago hotels. Last week, the Post traced Smollett's likely route to the underpass from a 24-hour Subway sandwich shop where he may have bought a tuna sandwich and a salad. Near the foot of a stairwell to the Loews, the Post found an empty hot sauce bottle that was partially filled with a clear liquid that smelled like bleach. Okay, how convenient. The Post alerted police, who seized the bottle, and then the Chicago police spokesperson said it was turned over to the FBI for analysis. The FBI declined to comment on what the contents of the bottle was, if it was related to this incident. So guys, what do you think? Do you think that the police are actually going to build a case against Jussie and file charges against him? Do you think, like in my mind, in my, writer's mind, I'm thinking that Empire returns Wednesday night, I believe. Wouldn't it be something if the police arrest him or announce that they're filing charges against him right as Empire is coming on Wednesday night? Like, would that be beyond petty for some of y'all? But anyway, leave your comments below and let me know what you think about this update. And then we're going to move over to R. Kelly. You guys know I've said in my other updates on R. Kelly that it just seems like people are saying and doing whatever they can to keep this story in the news. And so earlier it came out that R. Kelly was supposed to be doing an Australian tour. He was going to be going to Australia. He was going to Melbourne, which is in Australia, some other city in Australia. He was going to go to Sri Lanka, and somewhere else. It was like 4 cities he was going to go to. And so it was like a whole article, and they had like promoters and people who say that they were going to make this tour happen. Then it came out like the next day or later that day that the people in Australia were saying that, they're not going to let him come there. They're going to ban him. He's not welcome there. And then I got to thinking, back in December, there was a similar story that was put out, that he was going to be on tour in Australia, and R. Kelly came out and said that it was fake, it wasn't true, don't believe those stories. If it's not posted on his social media accounts, do not believe it, that is fake news. And so I did go and check his Twitter account and his Facebook account, and there was nothing posted there about this alleged tour. But in the stories that were being printed, they actually had flyers, they named promoting companies and all of this stuff. So I don't know if this was another hoax like the one back in December, or if he really is trying to plan a tour for Australia. And then you also know he already had a couple of shows planned for Germany for the first week in April. And so evidently, the first show that was supposed to take place, I think on April 2nd, they actually had to move the venue to a bigger venue because they're saying that there's so much demand for the tickets. And so he's gone from a 7,500 seat stadium to a 9,000 square foot stadium. But I thought it was interesting that the two stadiums are like 75 miles apart from each other. And I know personally, if I bought tickets to go to a show right here in St. Petersburg, and then you tell me, oh, it's moving to Orlando, which is about that distance, I'm gonna be real pissed and I'm gonna want my money back. So it's gonna be interesting to see if the Germany concerts, if they actually happen, if there is this great demand to see him over there. And then people were saying that they hope that charges are filed against him before that concert takes place, because the people in Germany are saying that the only way they will cancel the concert is if charges are filed against R. Kelly, and it's actually in the contract that if he is charged with anything, that the concert will be canceled. And they were saying that, you know, they hope charges are filed, the people in America, they hope charges are filed so that he can't take the Azriel Clary and Jocelyn Savage women out of the country. And these are grown women, regardless of how old they were when he met them, which I think they were 17, and the Jocelyn girl was an adult. She was over 18. But regardless, they have been contacted by the police on multiple occasions. They say they're happy, they want to be there. So why anybody would be trying to stop them from leaving the country makes absolutely no sense to me. So the latest story on R. Kelly, the irrelevancy, the stupid stories that keep coming out, was a story that happened last night where there was a news crew staking out his studio, because you know the judge implemented these rules that he could only be at the studio from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then R. Kelly had requested an extension. The judge said no, you need to be out by 9 p.m. He was also ordered to remove everything out of the studio that was not related to an actual music studio, which would be like the beds and the toiletries, like anything that indicated that somebody was living in this warehouse had to be gone. So I guess this news station, you know, was staking out the place to see if anybody was coming in after the 9 p.m. So let me go ahead and read this story. And this was actually on the Chicago news station. So it says, police were called to R. Kelly's studio in the West Loop after the keys to a rental car belonging to an Atlanta TV news crew were stolen Sunday night. Just before midnight, Chicago police responded to a theft in the 200 block of North Justine Avenue. A news crew from CBS Atlanta affiliate left their rental car running to cover activity outside the musician's studio in the West Loop and told police it took less than a minute for someone to steal the key fob. City inspectors say singer R. Kelly has not complied with their order to clear what appeared to be bedrooms in his near west side studio space. Police said they were told someone got out of a black SUV, went into the news crew's rented 2018 Chevy Malibu, and took the keys from the center console. The suspect then got into the SUV and took off southbound on Justine Avenue, according to police. The investigative crew from the CBS affiliate in Atlanta said they got out to confront who they believed to be R. Kelly getting whisked out of the studio just before midnight, and that's when they claimed someone stole their key fob. R. Kelly's attorney, Steve Greenberg, says that it's absurd. These guys are out there and they think someone stole their key fob. They probably just lost it themselves and are looking for a cover story, but they think someone stole their key fob. How does that have anything to do with Mr. Kelly? So someone gets their key fob, which should have been in their pocket, stolen, and they blame R. Kelly. Next thing you know, they're going to blame him for the upcoming government shutdown. R. Kelly's attorney believes the news crew is making up the story to make his client look bad. The musician and Chicago native's life has been under the microscope as he fights allegations of sexual abuse by multiple women. Unless they were invited inside, I don't know how they would know that, Greenberg said. If anyone goes there, you can't see inside and you can't tell who, if anyone, is in there. I can tell you that he has every intention of complying with the court's orders that are in place. Now, he said every intention of complying, not that he is complying with the orders that are in place. So it could or could not have been R. Kelly that they had went running to look for when their key fob was stolen. So far, no arrests have been made in the case of the stolen keys. And then it makes you wonder, is there not any video? Was there nobody else there? Like there was no witnesses to somebody And now they're saying that R. Kelly was in the, well, R. Kelly couldn't have been driving the SUV because in order to drive, you got to take a driving test. And in order to get a driving test, you got to be able to read and write to pass the written test. So I guess it had to be somebody that was chauffeuring him around. So that would be interesting to see, but it's just like getting ridiculous. And then I was watching another video earlier today, you know, how, and they were saying in the video how the Clarys and the Savages have kind of like really toned down. You really haven't been hearing that much from them. So I don't know if like people are talking to them saying y'all need to shut up and get out of the limelight because you're hurting your case, or if, you know, I don't know, but we haven't gotten any updated news stories or interviews from them, seemed like in the past week or so. So now let's move over to this crazy, crazy story right here. So this story is about a football player by the name of Jahleel Addae. And so he's the subject of colorism within the black community. And we all know that, you know, in the black community, colorism is a big issue. So this guy was I don't know if he posted the video, it was somebody else posted the video, but there was a video posted on Instagram where it was like 4 couples sitting down at a table at a restaurant, and all 4 of them were like interracial couples. Like the guys were black, the women were white or Hispanic or whatever. And so they were raising a toast to having more light-skinned kids. And so I guess his girlfriend or fiance just had a baby or something. And so they were proposing a toast, I guess, that the baby had came out being light-skinned, wasn't dark-skinned. And like this brother is very dark. And so I guess he got with a white woman so that his child wouldn't be dark-skinned like him. And so the video of the moment shows the pair out having drinks with other interracial couples when they decide to raise their glasses to more light-skinned kids. Everyone at the table repeated the descriptor, and then I'm going to post the video here.
Cheers. Cheers to more light-skinned kids. Cheers to more light-skinned kids. Cheers to more light-skinned kids. Really know.
So of course, after the video went viral, everybody was calling him out, you know, saying that the Chargers should drop him from the roster. Like, you know, this is absurd that he would be doing this. And then I'm also going to post some of the tweets that were going around. So some went to Twitter to remind Addae that the statement could be perceived as backhanded slap to the women in his life, devaluing the children that may have been brought into the world because they are not of mixed race. Because he could still have a baby and the baby be dark-skinned, whether he knows that or not. And then it's also interesting, like he wants to put down the fact that he has a, you know, this white woman gave him a light-skinned child. But I was sitting there thinking to myself, okay, so you don't want to be with a black woman because of her skin tone and you might have a dark child. But it's interesting that you still did to the white woman what Negroes be doing to black women, and that is you made her a baby mama instead of a wife. So we don't know how long they've been engaged. We don't know if they're getting married or if the term fiance is just thrown out there lightly. But anyway, it was stupid and it was ignorant. So others petitioned Charlemagne the God to talk to his friend about what appears to be either self-loathing or white worshiping. And I know Charlemagne is like, I don't need to be in no more Twitter beef going, oh, can y'all just leave me alone? And I know I personally had never heard of Jahleel Addae, so I had to Google him to see who he is. And so he's a 29-year-old American football safety for the Los Angeles Chargers. of the NFL. He played college football for Central Michigan University, where he was captain and three-time All-Mid-American Conference player, and he was signed by the Chargers as an undrafted free agent in 2013. And so I tried to find like some response from him, some response from his friends, and so far I haven't located anything. Oh, and I did look for his Twitter account, and the Twitter account has been marked private, you know, so when you go on it, it comes up with the message that this account's tweets are protected, which means that he has shut it down because he doesn't want to deal with this drama. So guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about these 3 updates and this, well, the 2 updates and this one story. Leave your comments below, rate the video, share the video. It doesn't cost you anything. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.